Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are going to be reviewing a pharmacy duo. This is Masters, but it is open queue, so there's going to be some variance to this. We're going to see potentially not 222, all that good stuff. Well, good stuff, bad stuff, whatever you want to consider it. But we're going to be taking a look at the pharmacy, which is always interesting to do. They were in comms, they could work together, so while we may focus a little bit more on the Mercy, we'll pay attention to both of them. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, all that good stuff. Okay. Sure. You don't really need to watch your Pharaoh that closely. Like, we set up here. Okay. So, this camera movement matters. Like, we see the Pharaoh. Our beam, we don't have to look at the Pharaoh to know what we're doing here. Like, we're looking at this, and maybe you're trying to time this just right, so you're at yellow beam when it's not blue beam time for the rate of fire. Maybe that's what's going on here, but I'm much more interested in, hey, is there something over there I need to look at? Do I see, like, a Widow barrel of her weapon peeking out? Do I see the Sigma shield that tells me what they are? Or even, do I need to look at my team to see if there's something I need to react to? Like, I really don't have a ton of need to react to look at my Farah as we're pocketing her. I may need to flick back to her depending on my settings to maintain the Guardian Angel stuff, but there's the APM to do that. That's not hard. Again, that's more of a stare than I need. Better. Serving the roofs reasonably. Okay, so this probably needed to be communicated a little better. This is sort of the trap for pharmacies right here of like, okay, your fare's going down and we haven't quite hit this right in terms of this. It looks like we canceled that a little early because that should have been perfectly surfable. It should have been perfectly surfable to catch up to our fare there. Okay, we still got through.
Connection ongoing.
Sure.
Damage amplified.
I need healing.
I don't really want my Pharaoh down there right now. So here we are.
You have my thanks.
Probably not. Probably not. Like, yeah, we're trying to conserve fuel. We've got a few seconds until our shift, but that's just a drop and land here and go drop a few shots through here thing. That's not a drop all the way down here or try to hover here. Like, this isn't better than this. The only thing even slightly better is this isn't a normal peak spot, whereas this is a more normal peak spot, but like, they already know you're a Pharaoh. You were just working up here. I'd have really preferred the peak over here, but that's okay.
I will not waste this opportunity.
Sure. You really did. Okay, now you're gonna swap with the Hanzo. Why? Why are we Eing there? So here we are, we're doing this. Like, I do want to E out, but now you're just hanging in the open with nowhere to go. You wanted to literally use this as a, nope, I'm going to force myself more back this way. And that was totally doable so that you can continue to use this. This is putting you and your Pharaoh in danger.
Your support has arrived.
Sure, and we're doing this, but can we see what's going on over here? Oh, it's important to know that this is going on over here. Again, we're not necessarily going to break off our Pharaoh and help our Zarya, but it sure would be important to know that these two are right under us. That's info that we'd communicate to our Pharaoh.
Needed a doctor? Damage boost engaged.
No. Why? And now we've retreated back here, and our team's angles suck. Our team's angles look like this, as opposed to like this, where if we'd had our Pharaoh up here, like this would be so much better. And they can't walk up and go punish your Pharah. They can't walk up and do that because they get shot in the back by your BAP. They get swung across by your Reinhardt, that sort of thing. Good. Good use of cover. Reasonable swap.
Verstanden. Let's get you that out there.
That's a little aggressive to let go of her.
Verstanden.
Like, I hear that Ashe is complaining a lot, but Pharah can't really live here without you. I hope you communicated this. I don't care if it was a call out of unleash, no leash, you know, dropping, whatever. Whatever you guys have communicated as your word for you're not pocketing your Pharah anymore. I hope that came out here as you left to go heal your Ashe. But, like, this Pharah is playing pretty aggressive to not have a Mercy pocket right now. Flop almost certainly wouldn't play here. Maybe they'd play here, but they almost certainly, yeah, I commented that off is the word we use. Okay, that's fine. So off is fine. Off is fine, but like I look at this and go, it's helpful that you did just beat them, that you did just force them back, that they're not able to, that they're just now sort of coming out, retreating, whatever you want to call it. But like, this is more aggressive than your Pharah would probably have been willing to position if they knew they weren't going to have their Mercy. So you're kind of, like, yes, communicating that you're leaving is important, but you've also got to be conscious of, are you leaving them? Like, you still need to not leave them when they're in dangerous positions. And this is like a little over the line of too dangerous of a position to be leaving her.
Let's get you that out there. Damage increase.
Okay.
Thank you. Behind you.
And there's not time for like a call and receive type thing of you saying off and her saying, okay, fine, or no, can't. There's not time for that. So you have to be able to read, is the situation dangerous enough or not? You still do need to communicate that you're doing it, but like there's not time for an overruled or an objection or something.
I'm here.
Okay. I want to stare at this Pharah a little more closely. I want to know if there's rockets coming for me. If there's rockets coming for me, which is entirely possible, I want to know if I need to drift left or right type thing. I want to know how I'm going to dodge them. If I'm in a pharmacy battle, I'm looking at the other Pharah. Yeah, and you have your prefer beam target Guardian Angel on. We can see from that, from how you just moved. So, like, let's actually take advantage of that and look at things that we need to dodge. Heal, heal, heal. Yeah. So you're better off with heal beam during barrage, basically always.
Rocket.
And the reason you're better off with heal beam during barrage is because of how barrage works. If you understand what Pharah does, Pharah stands there and is like, aha, aha, I am here and I have shoulder pack, I don't know, missile shooters, whatever. Okay, whatever, it's terrible. Doesn't matter. Pharah's there, and Pharah rains out missiles like this. Rains out missiles like this. And that's cool and all, but what you're actually doing for Pharah's damage is each missile does plenty of damage, and adding damage to the missiles, while it will technically cause the opponents to get eliminated faster, it doesn't actually help very much, because there's a fair amount of time delay from when Pharah first starts using the barrage to when that first missile gets to the opponent. But there's almost no time delay between when the first missile gets to the opponent and the second missile and the third missile and the fourth missile gets to them. So if you're thinking of this as like by damage boosting, I will eliminate them with the third missile instead of the fourth missile. Well, that's good, but it's not actually all that good. And the reason it's not all that good is, again, most of your time wasn't the time between the first missile and the third missile. It was waiting for the first missile to get there in the first place. And because that's the case, damage boost just doesn't work very well on barrage. Whereas healing is something she desperately needs because her survivability goes into the toilet because she roots herself in the air, really can't move. Her head hitbox is basically locked in place. Like, she's very easy to hit. She's very easy to do damage to. So we look at this and go, we want to heal her. Even if she's full health, we want to heal her. because it's this sort of thing where, hey, she's really not going to, like, damage boosting really does not make a 30% difference in terms of the speed at which she takes things down. It makes like a 2% difference in terms of the speed that she takes things down. I feel like the half second it takes to react to her taking damage and switching to heal beam won't make a difference. I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but do you think the difference between eliminating someone with the third and the fourth missile when all of the travel time was, that first missile getting there is going to make a huge difference? Like, I understand what you're saying and feeling like it's not a huge difference, but we're balancing between multiple things that are not huge. And also, I mean, pre-healing when you can expect someone to take damage is a thing. That's like saying when someone gets halted, like let's say someone gets halted above an Orisa shield by the opposing Orisa, do you not heal them until they start taking damage, or do you start healing them as soon as they get halted because you expect that they're going to take damage? My guess is that you swap over, or you should be swapping over to heal beam as soon as you see the halt linked to them, as soon as you see that they're going to be the one that's likely to take damage as a result of getting pulled by the halt, not once they've actually taken damage, because you can expect that damage follows that. Just like you can, if you see a Hammond is swinging in for or is going down for a pile drive, he's doing his little spinny, 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 and he's about to pile drive someone, and you see someone's in range, you don't go, I'll react once they've been knocked up by healing them. You heal them that instant before the pile drive slams, hits them to go, okay, now I'm pre-healing very predictable damage. Well, it's pretty darn predictable that your Pharaoh is going to take damage here. So I'm going to disagree. I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to disagree. And, I'm happy to discuss it further, but throw comments up and I'll discuss it further, sort of thing. Yeah. Into Valk, too late.
Heroes never die.
Too late. So, like, you're good. You're not Valking because you have this going on. Cool. Okay, so down to, what are we at there? 80 HP? Yeah, maybe we would have held on another half second if we'd been healing. Who knows? You hit the res. And it's not amazing, but the lamp is down. You can Valk here. Like, I know you're Valking late into a fight. You're Valking when you're disadvantaged. You weren't going to Valk early because you thought the barrage might be enough. And what you're looking at here is you do have that lamp, which is giving you a little bit of time that you can, again, greed with their health. This situation isn't going to get better. And you don't have any other ults that you can pour into this, and they don't have any ults either. Like, this is probably a place where you justify a Valk. I know you're going to feel like, but Temporal, it's like, my team is missing health, I won't get to Blue Beam enough. Well, you can Blue Beam a little during the lamp, and it's the only ult you have at the board. Scared of Valking at 200 HP even with lamp, or at 20 HP even with lamp? Yeah, that's fair. But you could do it now. Still not great, but you could do it now. Okay. Typically when I boost barrage, I damage boost for a little bit and then hold down left click and try to body block unless I know they're going to have huge burst damage. Typically when I boost barrage, I damage boost for a little bit. You can damage boost a little bit at the very beginning of the barrage, it's true, because you're really only interested in those first couple missiles, to be honest, in barrage. Well, first few missiles. And then try to body block unless I know they're going to have huge burst damage. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there, Lex, for the when to Valk, but that's fine.
Heroes never die.
Now we're Valking. It's going to be rougher now, but okay. Yeah, now we sort of Valked into a lost fight. We were already down our BAP. Our lamp was gone. Our Reinhardt was absolutely critical, and they had a beat in play when we popped Valk. That was significantly less good.
Let's get you that outfit.
Hello!
I've got you.
Okay.
You should be peak performance
You're with your
level.
Pharaoh, cool.
I am unstoppable.
That's a fine swap, and now back.
I'm taking
Good.
care. I'm taking care of you.
I mean, you can... It's dangerous, but you could have gotten out of that. Yeah. With the Guardian. Left drift probably wouldn't quite have done it with the Guardian out.
The battle continues. Damage boost engaged.
Sure, Fair's maintaining a good angle.
Don't let up on them.
Now you're going to go for the quick swap. And back to your Pharaoh. Back to your Ashe.
Damage increased.
Okay. Sure.
Thanks.
I don't think your Pharaoh can push the fight hard enough is the problem. Oh, she does have E. Okay.
You needed a doctor? Move back.
This Pharaoh is winning this fight right now. Okay, so I know you won, but like this becomes an at what cost thing.
Don't let up on them.
We do this. This is good. I like this swap.
Damage increased.
I actually don't love this all that much. These two Pharaohs are playing far enough away from each other, and you don't know that. You can't see the opposing Pharaoh, so this would become a do they need the pocket thing, and your Pharaoh really doesn't need the pocket. I don't know if they called for help or what, whereas your Ashe has seemed to have a more effective angle. Guess at this moment it's gone and they don't, so that's fine. So if the enemies truly are out, we're going to be okay boosting our Pharaoh because they left. I expected that the enemies were still in a bit longer. If this is really what we're down to, that's life. Yeah, you're not really going to help with the hog. This is fine then. This red Pharaoh shouldn't even be taking this fight.
You needed a doctor? Move back.
Nor should Ashe be dropping, but that's open queue, I guess. Okay.
You have my great team. You should be at peak performance level. I understand.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Thanks.
I need
You
healing.
should be at peak
Somebody
performance
get me
level.
some healing.
Yeah. So
I
you just call that you're off here,
Somebody get me some healing.
and you were probably never going to go through this way.
Thanks.
It's life.
Form up.
I need healing.
Right beside you.
Okay, that's fine. She's safe enough.
Fire at will. Rocket barrage incoming.
Again, you're well past the point at which you swap back to yellow beam here, but okay.
You've touched it. Rain from above. Healing stream engaged. Take them down. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, I actually got a tiny bit tilted at my duo there. You abandoned me, now I'm gonna leave you and get Ashe. I understand. You definitely had the ability to sync back up with your duo over here before going for Ashe, but your duo also was in very little danger, so going for the Ashe you had a sight line was reasonable. And then your duo did correctly float at the height that put them in no threat, so not a big deal.
Damage increased.
I don't need to stare at her. Turn. Okay. I sure would have liked to turn my head and look as I floated back down here, but okay. Better. Good.
I could use a hand. I need help.
You're calling for the res cover. He doesn't care.
Let's get you back in the fight.
Your out was probably towards your Pharaoh and not towards your Reinhardt, just based on the geometry that the opponents are dealing with. Your Pharaoh was a better out, but that's okay.
Damage and
And we're going to yell at our Pharaoh to take the better angle. Yeah, we have the tools. Let's take our better angle. Like, we can absolutely play roof up here. There's very little reason we can't be going, hey, let's go do stuff over here, as opposed to hanging here. We can get the deeper angle and do more, and be very safe while doing so. Unless you're keeping her close intentionally for Valk. If you're keeping her close intentionally for Valk, that's fine too. No. Are we gonna Valk? We should. Good.
Heroes never die.
We probably wanted to look a little more aggressively for Valk this fight. Like, we look at this. You should be telling your team to just push this harder, that they're gonna get Valk. Like, I don't care about the nano, really. Now that they've nanoed, maybe that changes your mind, but you should have been encouraging your team to push into this a little harder, effectively. Sheldon says, interesting video, 2 heroes I never play. Always interested to see a new perspective of the match. Oh yeah, pharmacies are fun. Yeah, and then once you get to safety and feel you have health, then you're willing to go for the Valk. I'd have liked to more aggressively force our team to Valk there. Not Valk to make them go, but make them go and then Valk. But that depends on the comm situation.
Heroes never die.
Interesting. You're not going to attach this hard to her if she insists on off-angling like this while your Valk is going. Like, she has the safety that she needs. She has the cover that she needs. If she wants to do this and get the jump on the Hanzo, so be it. But you're more interested in, can I get 2, 3, 4 people with my Valk over here? Can I get someone who's doing a little more work? Like, she had the safety she needed here. You could have been like, I want Ashe, I want these two. Both of those were better. She knows she's not going to get the same hard pocket, or needs to know that she's not going to get the same hard pocket during a Valk. Like, you'll swap to her rapidly, but it's not going to be the same hard pocket.
Let's get you back out there.
Damage, yep.
Damage increase.
That was shallow. What changed your mind there?
Damage
You wanted the cart? Okay. This is the weird guardian to me, this little half guardian. Like, more height is better or less height is better. You sort of hung in the danger zone. What's Fair up to these days? Playing off angle.
On a roll.
Okay, and you look back up for the limb. Perfect.
My thanks.
Beautiful.
Schöner Treffer.
Not our best reload.
I always get my friends. Thank you.
You see Deanna. Reload.
You have my
You can force it.
thanks.
You have your mercy. You don't have your mercy. Why don't you have your mercy? You do have your mercy.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Check the alley. Check the alley.
Surge is ready.
Should be safe, but very little reason not to check it.
Thank
Fine.
Let me get you
Thank you.
This is what I was talking about.
Let me get you patched up.
Oh, there's a ball slamming. Boom. Can we already be pre-peeling that? Now, they're already missing health, so we definitely can be. We might have just been doomed because there's a fair rocket, there's the slam, there's nothing we can do. Yes, this would have required fast reaction time because you did not really see the ball early, but this is what you would have tried for. I don't think you want to be here.
Let me get you patched up.
Hanzo's not looking at you. Hanzo's not looking at you. You decide to drop for that, sure. Easy win. Your Pharaoh's not going to force it? Excuse me? Why are we backing so hard here? Don't really need to back that hard. Huh. Yeah, okay. Lick says, your core wins fight. If you blew them, you still won anyway, but it was scary. I don't know exactly when you were referring to. Yeah, I don't know well enough which fight you're referring to.
A.
Maybe scared of Hanzo. Could have been, but like the Hanzo's movement was incredibly predictable. Like Hanzo had nowhere he could move because he was standing right on the edge, where it's like you can move forward, you can move left, you can't move back, and you can't move right. Like his movement was so contained. Um, but it was just very easy to force with because he didn't want to give him more space. But oh well.
Let's get you back out there.
Kind of tunnel vision on that res.
I could use some assistance.
Like a lamp, good. Reasonable drift. And that's over. Slow on the pistol, not that it'll matter.
Back in the
Fire at will! Rocket barrage incoming!
fire. Nice. This is don't let up. It's almost over.
I will not waste this opportunity.
Your support has arrived.
10 seconds.
Valk. Valk.
Heroes never die. Let me get you past. Healing stream engaged.
Step right up. Step.
You should be at peak performance levels.
You're risking losing the high noon? Like,
Так точно.
Healing stream engaged.
you're doing that. Yeah, okay, cool. You see this happens.
You
You're
should be
thinking
at
I need to
peak
boost the
performance
high
levels.
noon because of this. And yeah, it's true. You could totally cheat your McCree here by swapping to heals right as he pulls the trigger, and that would suck. On the other hand, like, this is a pile drive. It can't by itself take him down at the health threshold that he's at, but it's very predictable when it's coming down. And you can absolutely go, hey, I'm going to flick for just an instant to be healing him when it lands type thing. But okay, so good. As soon as he survives it, you go back to damage. But oh well. Okay.
You have my
You wanted the ball eliminated. Okay.
Score.
Let me show you how I
You should be at peak performance levels. I'm with you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Damage increase.
As we head into the second round here, I mean, obviously we've talked about there's a little more you can do with your camera in terms of where you're looking when you're working with your Pharah, especially because you look like you have prefer prefer beam target on for Guardian Angel. There's more you can be looking at when you're challenging other Pharaohs, when you're challenging stuff. Like, it is good and correct. You doing a good job of using the aerial terrain to hide while enabling your Pharaoh. That is good. But at those times when you can't, and at those times where you pop up because you're doing things to maintain height, etc., you're not doing as good a job as you should of getting information of, okay, what's going on. You're not checking alleyways as well as you should. And I know this is something that you're better at than this, so it's just clearly that you're juggling the extra thing of having to track your fare, of having to maintain height that's making it a little harder on you. So you can adjust for that. That's a thing that you need to work back into your system. I know you disagree with me, or did disagree with me, over the heal versus damage on barrages. If you want your compromise for heal versus damage on barrage, it would be you damage boost for like, you know, until the first like 4 or 5 missiles are out of barrage, and that's really not very much. So like the first instant of barrage, and then you go to healing it. If you want to continue to blue beam it and trust that you'll react to damage in time, I mean you can, but she really doesn't need more damage, so I don't recommend it. Other things that we get into, you're doing a pretty good job with the roof surfing. You almost lost her that one time, but you did ultimately get over there. Your calls seem like they're okay. You lost her at the edge there on second on left side from defender's perspective. I'm not too worried about that. Could have found a little bit better reaction time on some of the peel stuff, and then you abandoned her the one time when her positioning was just a wee too aggressive for you to do that. So we'll have to continue to keep an eye on that. In terms of her, I mean, she really can afford to challenge the other Pharaoh more aggressively than she is, and I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see actually taking a bit more advantage of having the Mercy, like a little bit more aggressive with our positioning. Yes, being conscious of good places to put you where you can play and have cover is good, but I would like some more aggressive challenges to take advantage of the extreme resource that she is getting and having a Mercy mostly dedicated to her, even if that makes your positioning worse. There's more that we can get into here. There was a little too much willingness to go to core rather than to maintain off angles, which again, when you have a Mercy, on that second point, maybe it was playing around the Valk, but then you guys were late to Valk, so I don't think so. When playing around the Mercy, when playing around the fact that you have an extreme amount of support in the form of a Mercy, you need to abuse those off angles. And height is a good off angle, but you need to go pretty extreme. Like it needs to be, hey, if my team is over here, I'm going to be over here. If my team is over here, I'm going to be up over here, which we got a little bit of. If my team is fighting from here, I'm really going to think pretty hard about fighting from up here, not just from up here, which is a less extreme angle, because like you have a huge amount of pocket. And yes, it hurts your ability, the Mercy's ability, to go help the other team when your Pharaoh does that a little bit, but like we are playing for the extreme help there, and we kind of expect that our Pharaoh is going to play aggressively enough to continue to demand the Mercy. Like we're playing in a way, because you're a duo, that while you will break off and do other things occasionally, mostly surrounding res, mostly surrounding Valk usage, you want to play in such a way that your Pharaoh is always the best beam target. Like if your Pharaoh is going to get a constant pocket, your Pharaoh needs to always be the best beam target. And to always be the best beam target, they need to always be in the most aggressive positions, which means occupying positions that wouldn't be safe without a Mercy, if that makes sense. I'll work on that barrage. Damage boost compromise. Body blocking is a thing I'm working on, but there's many games where I don't do it all. Yeah, you do some body blocking. I'm familiar.
I will not waste this opportunity.
Heilstrahl aktiviert. I got you.
I like this.
Damage boost engaged.
Sure, you can heal him for a moment, and then go right back. Yep. But this can get even more aggressive. Good.
Healing stream engaged.
Sure. Fine. You just needed to roof surf that a little bit. Okay. Next E is going to send you far right. That's very passive. Next E is going to send us right at the Kree. Like, again, far right sends us over here. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. But who's going to punish you for going here? Like, your team is pushing them hard, and you're going, nope, I'm going to crush you from here, and who's going to do anything about it? Like, we're instantly going to take people out if we E ourselves over across this roof over to here. Mercy's still got the roof to play with, to slide with, to maintain height as a little bit of protection, and we just get to smash rockets into these guys from behind. If we then need to bail, we bail over to here type thing. But, like, we can play this more aggressive.
Tango down.
Okay. Okay. be here. I don't want to be here at all. We have shift. Can we please go height? Okay, that's better.
My ultimate is charging.
But, like, this is the direction your team is threatening from. If we went higher, we still needed to go this way. We still did. We had to have the angle. Again, we have a mercy. Better.
Damage amplified. Mercy in
Okay.
Bereitschaftsdienst.
Sure.
Ich bin
You can
da.
valk for staggers. Too late.
You needed a doctor? Entschuldigung. The battle continues.
Cool.
Damage
Fine.
increase.
You're fired? Like, what are you doing, Farah? What are you doing? You have a mercy. Like, your mercy's going to abandon you and go find other things to do. Go hang out with Hanzo. Like, no, you can't be here. You already need to be thinking about, okay, well, am I popping rockets from here? Am I popping rockets from up here? Am I trying to transition myself over to here? Like, what are we doing? Better.
Well done.
Okay, using the Zarya as your shield, and then right back to your Pharaoh? No, you're waiting on health. I don't love that.
Damage boost engaged.
My ultimate
Good,
is
and
charged.
then you drop. Well done. You're stable, you're okay.
Let them up.
Right idea to break off there and heal everyone. I mean, it's greedy, but it's probably a damage boost. Oh well, that's fine.
Our leader, victory.
I will not waste this opportunity.
Heroes never die.
Sure.
Damage increase.
It's a long time to not be boosting anyone right there. Just following her soul. Not happening. Just play it with the rest of your team.
I'm taking care of
Dragon control you.
you. Keep the fight.
Nope, she's not back in the fight yet.
Dragon control you.
Peak
I know you're
performance
thinking of
levels.
yourself as a Pharamercy duo, and therefore you need to be enabling her, and I'm totally good with that. But again, if you're a Pharamercy duo, she has to play hard enough to be the best target most of the time. Like, if you're going to go, she gets 90% of your time, she needs to be the best target 75% plus of the time. You follow what I'm saying? Like, she can't only be the best target 50% of the time, 40% of the time. She's not the best target right now. Her distance is putting her in a situation where, hey, she's here, she sort of has an angle. No, I don't know about this. I'm thinking my Hanzo is about to do his Dragon Strike, hop, and then go for Storm Arrow thing. I'm thinking my Zarya is beaming something. I'm thinking my Reinhardt is swinging into people. Like, even my BAP has height and closeness for this. Like, we're gonna hit projectiles from here. No, we're not. No, we're not. She's got to be closer before she's worth it. Nice. Oh, I would have Valked here. How'd you know it was stable? How'd I know it was stable to Valk? Oh, how'd I know it was stable so that they didn't have to Valk? Oh, that. I know the fight that you're talking about now. I mean, I could tell based on the situation that they were up by enough people. They were down a lot of health. Blue team was down a lot of health on that fight over when Cart was on the first part of second, but they were fine in terms of the amount of people they had. They were up by a lot of people, And as long as no one went wild, as long as no one fed, we were going to be able to go, okay, just stabilize this fight. That's going to mean more yellow beam, more Rhine shielding, etc. type thing. Um, the longer that you can delay anything from happening in that fight when you're up on people, the more health, the more cooldowns are coming back, the easier that fight became to clean up. If we Valked, we'd have been Valking into a fight where we were down a lot of people, and we'd have been Valking when we were down a lot of health, so we'd have had to use that Valk mostly to do healing, which is not a very good use of Valk. It's not actually very good for that, and it was in a fight that we'd already really won.
Damage increase.
Yeah. So like that's a lot of time of Valk there that was just spent doing nothing.
Patched up.
Can see how bad you want it.
Amplified.
Zarya's probably a better target, but okay. Now I'm gonna swap to Hanzo.
I'm taking care.
The weird soul orb trajectory you wanted to res but missed it. I get it.
Take cover.
The dragon control you.
Again, we covered this. She's not aggressive enough yet. Good.
Incoming.
That, on the other hand, is perfectly aggressive.
Let them out.
Okay.
Victory.
So that's good. I think you're going to notice that your offense went better than your defense, and that might seem weird because Pharah is a character that does better when the opponents have to push into her. That's why she sees a lot of use on Koth, but you'll frequently see people swap off of her on Koth when they need to retake, whereas they'll play her when it's neutral or when they have control. So you might be a little surprised by that. I think what you're probably going to realize, what you eventually will realize, though, is that as a duo, you guys need your Pharah to play a bit more aggressive than you are. Like, they're playing Pharah like a pretty standard Pharah, and you're upgrading their standard Pharah. And that's not enough. Pharmacy really wants to be played a little more aggressive than that. That doesn't mean that, like, okay, you're doing it wrong if you're not standing right here. That doesn't mean that. You can still go, hey, I have some level of cover. Hey, I have an extreme angle. But that's the thing. You should have an extreme angle. You should have something like this. Something like this. Not, oh, hey, my team is shooting from here and I'm shooting from here. No, let's wrench that open and make it more extreme. Let's wrench that open and make it more extreme. Oh, my team is going this way. I better be going this way. I better be coming up over here and going this way. I better be going this way. And you'll notice I advocated a few times for things that probably felt like they had no out. Like, hey, you're going to E in like this, and then you have no escape. But you're going to frag out. And that's okay when you're Pharmacy, especially when you're Pharmacy on offense, to go, you're going to frag out, and you trust that you're going to frag out because you have an extremely helpful pocket in the Mercy there to just sort of go, hey, I'm going to trust that we're going to make this work. Like, nothing too scary is back here. Reinhardt's, things like that. Sure, Reinhardt, BAP, whatever. But the McCree doesn't have line of sight on us type thing. And I'm going to trust that we can get an elimination or two before things even remotely go sideways. And our team is going to push into it. Oh, we're here. When your Fair started getting more aggressive, it worked a little better for you. Again, that doesn't mean you have to be in melee range like point blank rocketing people, but it does mean we're wrenching these into big angles. We're wrenching these into big angles, and we are willing to go behind teams even, etc. So like as a duo, I want to see you guys pushing the limit a bit more. I want the law to think a little more about, hey, if I have this Mercy, I better, from your perspective, and you can help them with this because you understand Mercy well enough to know who is the most aggressive and who is the best pocket at any point. You need them to be the best person to be boosting a higher percentage of the time. Like, that's what you need to happen. For your individual play, since this is ultimately your review, I am going to again say, hey, good job holding back on the Valk over there. Obviously, at second that our other person in chat mentioned there. I would have liked to see the better Valk on first on the first round there, but that's okay. But the things that we would get into would be, I do want a little more active camera movement, which I know you're capable of because we've seen it before on when you're not doing the Pharmacy stuff. The Pharmacy stuff is clearly just the maintaining flight is taking more of your attention. The roof surfing is good, but I want more attention to your camera control. I want you to adjust the barrages. Even if you want to go blue at the very beginning of barrage and then over to yellow, that's fine. But you should be spending more of your barrages yellow than blue effectively on those. Reses were fine. You spent too long looking for the weird soul trajectory thing there, but I understand why you did that. What else did we cover here? I mean, I could say you're a little too attached to her when she's not taking good enough positioning, but that's sort of a repeat, but it is something that you guys need. Like, you can't abandon her when she's in super aggressive positions, but she needs to be in super aggressive positions more often. Or at least maybe not super aggressive, but aggressive, like aggressive plus, we'll call it, positions more often for this to happen. So like there's some work to do there. We need to turn it up from like a 7 to a 9 in terms of, or like from a 5 to a 7 or 8, however you want to think about that. Um, and that will cause you to not be able to leave her. You weren't like leaving her a ton or anything, but that is something that we'll have to sort of be aware of there. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, throw them up in chat now. If you're enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. I wanted that Falling Soul res for the montage. Okay. Falling Souls are not at all clear on how they work with res. I've definitely accidentally canceled res on Falling Souls before. That definitely happens. Hope they fix that in Overwatch 2. Probably won't. Maybe. Maybe. There's a fair few games where Fair can't be aggressive because we have an off-healer feeding tank since it's a ladder game. So what you run into with that though is you just have to win the game before they're allowed to lose. And I'm sort of serious. It's like, oh, we have Mercy Zen, so we don't have enough healing and our tanks are feeding. Okay, well sure. So do what you can to keep your tanks going until your Pharaoh is ready, and then the instant your Pharaoh goes and turns it up from a 5 to an 8 or a 7 to a 9 or whatever the case is, you're there and you're going, I'm going to support this play and we're going to win before Reinhardt is able to spend the life that I had gotten back to him, etc. Like that's just sort of it. The person who should most complain about the mercenary who like has the most right to complain is actually your Zen in that case because you're not going to peel for them very hard. But sort of what you have to do is you have to stay with your team just a tiny bit longer, and then transition to your Pharah as she goes in if your tanks are spending health too hard and not well enough, etc. Makes sense. Thank you for the review. Okay, no problem. And with that, I should grab lunch before we handle tryouts, so that's what I'll do. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. Mercedes, if you have any further questions, you can let me know. Looks like we took care of them. If your Farah has any questions, you can send them my way as well, and I can address brief stuff over DM, but I won't go too into stuff because, well, then we'd have to get into another review. But I think that's going to do it. Heal up tanks while your Pharaoh is effectively staging, as long as you're going to be able to follow the staging. But that's not like a general rule. That's specifically for the situation that Mercedes was describing here. Generally, your tanks shouldn't be spending their health poorly. But if you're trying to play around that, the play around that is, okay, Pharaoh's going to stage sort of independently. Then as Pharaoh goes, I'm going to swap to her, and my tanks can I don't care about my tanks losing the health because the other team should be losing health faster because my fair is going aggressive and I'm enabling it type thing. Time to do it in your own games and lose SR. Oh, if only you weren't kidding. Okay. If this was a roll queue game, what would you guess the average team SR to be? For this, plat. I would have guessed plat. I didn't see anything too amazing here. The accuracy wasn't like fantastic. There were some interesting engages. That's what I would have said. Haha, nice. Okay. How painful would it be to Winston Orisa as a two trick up the ladder? I mean, you'd be quite comfortable in GM right now. Not that bad. Like Winston can take over games pretty reliably. Not that bad. Yeah, I don't think that would be terribly painful actually, Blah. If you wanted to do that, I would be interesting. You're always gonna have some resistance to anything that isn't Reinhardt and like metal ranks, specifically gold and below. You'll have some resistance to that, but that's not a big deal. Winston, even if his team is annoyed, can get quite a lot done in those low ranks. So yeah. Yeah, probably. There's way harder heroes to do it with than to two-trick with those two. Oh, Adam Nicholas, and with the $2 super chat saying, "Hey, Temporal, thanks for the great content." Thank you, Adam. I really do appreciate that. Once again, Adam with the $2 super chat saying, "Hey, Temporal, thanks for the great content." Um, yeah, this was a good one. And thank you, Mercedes, for coming in here with the duo review of the pharmacy. That makes for some good content. He must be drunk. He must be. He must be. But who knows? Okay, we are going to go ahead and call it there. Thanks once again, guys. Temporal out.